core combat update is coming on August 6th, and considering that only 25% of active players participated in the testing grounds meant to test out said core combat updates, and also keeping in mind the fact that For Honor is currently has a free weekend and we may have an influx of new players, I decided to make a quick recap video for those who are unaware of the upcoming changes, or for those who want to get a general understanding of what those changes are about. I'm not going to go into details regarding every single change. I'm not going to talk about the number values of these changes because, first of all, there are people who will do a much better job at that, and second, well, we also don't really have any numbers just yet. Instead, I'm just going to provide a general overview to give you a general understanding of the upcoming changes and what they mean for the game and in which direction the game is currently going. So let's jump into it. First of all, with these changes, the first 100 milliseconds of the attack are going to be hidden from your opponent. I know I said I'm not going to talk about numbers, but you know, in this specific case, why not? So what it means basically is that imagine me and you are in a lobby together, we're playing a duel, and my ping, my latency is about 40, and yours is about 10. So, what happens in the current version of the game is that I press the light attack button, and after 40 milliseconds, you can see that I am indeed performing a light attack on you. So, then you press your light attack button, and after 10 milliseconds, I can see that you are performing a light attack on me. From now on, these discrepancies and differences will no longer play a role, so neither of us will be disadvantaged, because now, after you press the attack button, there will be a 100 millisecond delay before I can see that you're attacking me. The same obviously applies to me. This is done in order to, like I mentioned, mitigate the discrepancies in the latency between the players. So if your latency is below 100 and my latency is below 100, we will have a playing field, you know, nobody will be disadvantaged. So, that's the idea. What happens when you meet someone with a ping of 150 or 180? You press Alt F4, that's what you do. And there is obviously a second, even more important reason for these changes, which is to make the offense less risky. So, the attacks will land more often because they will be much harder to react to. Feints will also be subjected to change. First of all, the attack indicators in the current version of the game. The attack indicator disappears halfway through the animation basically, and with the new changes, the attack indicator will be present for longer in order to keep you guessing whether the person is going to feint or let the attack go or soft feint or whatever. And the other change is that the ghosts, those, I don't even know how to describe it, these white, ghosts, which appear when you feint an attack, will be replaced with a much smaller, much less noticeable puffs of smoke, I guess, or whatever it is. Other big change that is coming is the stamina penalties. In the current version of the game, it costs stamina to throw an attack. If you get blocked, you get additional stamina penalty. If you get parried, you get even more of a stamina penalty. And if you miss an attack, you also get a stamina penalty. These will be gone. So from now on, you can throw attacks and you will not be punished for it. When it comes to stamina, you know, if you get parried, you will still get punished, but at least it won't drain your stamina. So again, it is done in order to encourage players to attack more and also to make it more difficult to just sit there and defend and block every attack, because your opponent is not going to run out of stamina anytime soon, so you might as well try to parry at this point. In order to deal with light spam, because apparently that's an issue in 2020, all light attacks will be dealing considerably less damage from now on. The same applies to heavy attacks as well. Their damage values will be adjusted, or in other words, they're going to be dealing less damage from what we understand. The idea here is, again, the attacks will land more often, and offense will be better overall, so we need to adjust the damage values, otherwise the fights will be over too quick, basically. And on the topic of light spam, another change that comes to the light attacks is that their stamina costs are going to be almost doubled across the board to make sure that you don't spam your opponent, basically. So the idea here is, again, to incentivize players to use something other than just their light chains, because from now on it's basically not really viable to do. or at least that's what they're trying to accomplish, because you will drain your entire stamina bar on your light attacks, you will deal much less damage, so do you really want to do that? The next set of changes deals with recovery values. Recoveries, in very, very layman's terms, is when you throw an attack, you have to wait for a little bit before you can do anything else, counter guard break or dodge or whatever. So these values will be normalized across the board, because now there are inconsistencies between the characters. So what they promise to do, from what I understand, is that all the characters will now have the same recoveries on like light finishers and heavy finishers and so on. On the same topic of recoveries, we have frame advantage and frame disadvantage. So from now on, heavy finishers will have frame advantage. What does it mean? If you throw your heavy finisher, for example this Kensei's top unblockable, currently in the live version of the game you will enter such a long state of recovery where you won't be able to defend yourself properly that throwing this finisher is a suicide move, especially if you're getting ganked. With these changes, you will be able to immediately go and attack again, start off a new chain of attacks. This is done in order to, again, encourage people to attack more and to use their entire movesets to go into their chains. But we also have such concept as frame disadvantage, and what does that apply to? Light finishers. So again, this is done in order to counter light spam. So if you use your light chains and you throw your light finisher, you cannot immediately after that go and start off another light chain. From now on you will be disadvantaged at this situation. So if you use your light chains and you get to your light finisher, after you're done, it will be your opponent's turn to attack. Also on the topic of fighting the light spam or countering the light spam, the chained lights are now dodgeable all across the board, because apparently in the live game some light chained attacks are dodgeable and some are not. From now on, all of them will be dodgeable mid-chain. However, when the devs tested those changes out, they noticed that there were several outliers with really fast attacks from neutral who could, either start their new chain right off the bat or hit you out of your own offense if you try to attack them. So, such attacks as Peacekeeper's Zone, Lawbringer's Top Light, Shaolin's Top Light, and Orochi's Top Light will be nerfed and slowed down to 500 milliseconds in order to comply with the new, policy regarding the frame advantage and frame disadvantage rules. Along with these core combat updates, there will be hero-specific changes that are coming on August 6th. One of those changes being that Highlander's lights will now be faster. His defensive stance lights, because I think now they are like 600 milliseconds, or I'm not sure, don't quote me on any of that, but they're slow, they will be fast. They will be on par with everyone else. And another set of changes will come to Orochi. His chained lights will be slowed down because, and I quote the developers.
So now Orochi was the character we got the most complaints about constantly.
They didn't mention Nusha or Valk or Tiandi, who also have fast chain lights, but whatever. In order to compensate for this nerf, they will give him an unblockable heavy finisher so that he could have a mix-up, I guess. And the last set of changes will be changes regarding feats. We don't know much about it, they didn't say anything, they just said basically that all the healing feats will have to be nerfed, because now all the attacks will be dealing less damage. So it doesn't make sense for those healing feats to be as powerful as they are. So Second Wind, Blackbriar's feat that allows him to heal in a bulwark stance, Jormungandr's feat that allows him to heal on bash, all those will be butchered, I think, so we just have to wait and see how much. So, in summary, all these changes are meant to promote offense, to make offense less risky and less reactable, to shift the focus of the game from defense to offense, and to put an end to a turtle fest that is still present in this game. And basically that's all there is when it comes to the new changes. I obviously didn't cover everything, and like I said, I didn't cover all the details of it, but I hope I provided you some very general, simplified information regarding these changes so that you could have a better understanding of where the game is going and what those changes will mean, in case you don't have the time or desire to watch 2 hours of Warriors Den where devs are trying to explain this stuff, or if you go on Reddit and you look up those changes, all you see is complaints and holy war in the comments. So just some general information to make things more clear. And yeah, I hope I succeeded in this goal. If you want more details, I'm sure there will be a lot more videos when the changes actually come up with frame checks and whatnot, and also there will be patch notes on Ubi's website when the changes actually come out, detailing all the, intricacies and milliseconds of this and milliseconds of that. But like I said, a simplified summary of these changes is what I was trying to do. So I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you found it helpful in any way, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.